Classic. Hello, darling. Welcome back to another Icebreakers. And this time, you might recognize me. My name is Häll. I'm from Finland, IGDA Finland, teaching game design, doing operations and meta play. And I am here, as always, with my lovely co-host, at least on my screen, Sylvia.
Hi, I'm Sylvia. I work for the Norwegian network for video game companies Noneda. So I help the Norwegian games industry grow.
Yes. And then normally we would have a guest, and it might look like we have a guest, but actually we have a new co-host. Marve, you want to take it away? Introduce yourself, please.
Yes, my name is Marve Gomes, and I am a game design student at Future Games in Boden, who is right now sitting here with people who are incredibly much more inside the gaming industry than myself, but I will be learning from them and hopefully be able to shed some interesting thoughts here in this little live stream.
Wonderful. Happy to have you on board. And of course, as always, our wonderful producer, Viv, who is behind the camera making technical and magical things happen all the time. Also, if you hear a voice that doesn't have a face, that's Viv. And I think we have, so this was we did like very thorough market research and realized that we need a Gen Z here voice with us elders. So that's why we have Marv here. You're going to represent a whole generation. So no pressure.
No pressure at all. Absolutely.
Sounds great. Okay, so we don't have a guest this time. We're not going through any roles like we normally do. This is a kind of an end of year. We're going to talk about what happened in our countries this year. We're going to talk about we're going to raise a couple of interesting games that we think are worth mentioning, and then we will talk a little bit about Christmas games, what to play, and we're going to cap out with a little kind of a plan for the next year, what kind of roles we're going to be talking about, some that have been asked about quite a few times, and we're going to be schnoizling. It's going to be good.
Before we start, just to say that if there's anybody in the chat, today we are going to be just taking it casual. So if you have any questions in the chat, please don't hesitate to ask us. Or if you want to bring up a topic, please don't hesitate to bring it up, because we'd love to hear more about your experiences as well.
If you have like a game that would fit when we're talking about different countries with their games, if there were like the game award shows, but like that was like a while ago by now, like internet time, it's been like 3 years. So we're not gonna go too deep in that, but like I know people use that as a way of finding new games, so that is definitely something that we're happy to hear if people are considering that. But I don't know, should we just jump into the, I don't know what to call this. Is this the news segment or whatever?
That's actually a kind of fun way to do it, though, because we are summing up the end of the year. So it is our little our mini presentation where each of us, I mean, I don't have a PowerPoint or anything, so I apologize. It'll just be text. But I've just looked at some of the numbers that were released, at least for Norway, and I've picked out some of the interesting numbers and stuff. And I want to kind of discuss it because we are coming from the Nordics and our different industries, and we are technically culturally like somewhat similar in a lot of ways, but our industries are so very, very different. And so I think that it's going to be fun to kind of look at how our industries are, how they're doing this year, and then comparing and maybe discussing a little bit about maybe some of the reasonings behind the differences. Yeah. Because I mean, Norway is the little outlier here of the two of you, right? Because Finland and Sweden have this huge video game industries, but nobody's really heard much about the Norwegian games industry. So here I am, and I kind of want to discuss, and I want to learn more.
It's actually now that you mention it, like sometimes when I talk about icebreakers, when I meet people, it like comes up or something, and then I mention it's like it's Finland, it's Sweden, it's Norway, and then people are like, oh, Norway. I'm like, yeah, and then like, if we talk about the game industry in Norway, there's Funcom, and that's the one people know, and to be honest, before this started, that was kind of what I knew about Norway as well.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, to be fair, let's be very fair here now as well. But for Sweden and Finland, I mean, you have the huge industries, but we mainly only hear about the big companies as well. I mean, we don't really hear a lot about smaller companies unless they have a breakout game, unless they have a huge game that comes out that ends up making them big. So, I mean, yeah, we just have the one company that's really big. But, I mean, so it's fair enough if you haven't really heard that much about the others. But I look forward, I mean, that's what we're here for, right? Is to help highlight and promote those other companies that maybe aren't as well known.
for sure. And yeah, I think also, so I think we've done a pretty decent job. Like, yeah, it's Finland, Sweden. We sometimes the guests will be from like bigger companies, but we've done a pretty decent job like getting from smaller as well. Sweden and Norway has been better at that than Finland. I will admit that we're lagging behind a little bit there, but yeah, and maybe that should be a focus in the future. More of those smaller indies. Problem is yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when the industry is predominantly specific companies, then it's harder to look for it. I mean,
Yeah.
because for Norway's part, we have a lot of indie companies. We do have a lot of indie companies, and so it's and because we're kind of a relatively small industry, we are also very like close knit. So everybody knows everybody. So it's a little easier to know who to contact. I guess maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I think we're also quite, but I think the problem is, and maybe you've run into this same, and I know Sweden maybe has as well, that people in the game industry aren't always the people who want to be in front of the camera and telling people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's also a part of the issue. But I think we've done okay.
Yeah, I think it's been wonderful. We've had some really good guests, and I honestly think that each one of our sessions, I've really learned something new about those roles because there are things I just never even thought to think about, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And I will say I have had 2 messages from people who who watched the episode and said that they either like learned, and that's the one person said that they learned, and that's why they were unsure where to focus, and now they know what they want to do. And the other one was like similar, but also the guest was someone they approached. Well, actually, the guest told me that they were approached because of the episode. They were directly told that they were.
But
That's like, yeah.
But that's so wonderful because that's what we're aiming for, right? We want to
Yeah.
introduce these different game companies. We want to introduce these different roles in the games industry, and maybe perhaps grow the community. So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, we're making small splashes, but we're making splashes, and
Hey, that's what we
doing it.
do. That's what we do.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, it's
Okay, so
oh, sorry, I just have to say one
no,
thing, but it's kind of like it's what I do with my job too. I mean, like the Norwegian games industry is relatively small, right? But when I hear those stories about, oh, somebody at one of my events got a publishing deal because they were at my event, and I was just like, oh, my heart. It feels like such a success, even if it's only one, but it's still one makes a huge difference. So.
Definitely. Yeah. I feel the same when I'm teaching. When I get the Finnish people aren't very sort of emotional or like outward expressive. You might have maybe heard of it. So the students quite similar. So when after when I teach, they might approach me or they send me a message and they're very happy about the course and like, oh, that helps me go on to the next year and keep doing that. So yeah, definitely. But hey, it's been me and you talking all the time. Marve's just been there listening to mom and dad talk and just nodding his head. Maybe we should get on with it and maybe Marv, do you want to start and tell us what's up with Sweden, man? Like, come on.
What's up with Sweden? Yeah, a lot of things are up with Sweden. So much that I actually even know if I'm gonna be able to like say some specific statistics because a weird thing happened with Sweden, and that is that we released 2 big games this month.
Oh.
I mean, and that's really, really exciting. So, what the fuck? Okay, so for example, we have both Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora and the finals releasing in this same month. And I don't know if you've seen it, but the finals is right now taking in so many new players, getting praise all over the place. People saying that, oh my god, this is a breath of fresh air for the entire first-person shooter genre. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the next year how especially that game, that is a live service game, will continue and evolve. But we are right now in the cusp of a game that I hope will have a long lifetime. So
Okay.
a lot of things are happening. Absolutely.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Hold the phone. Avatar is from Sweden? Like it's
Yeah.
a Swedish team?
Yeah.
Ah. I
Massive
knew it was
entertainment.
Ubisoft. I didn't realize. Okay. Crazy.
So, of course, it's a Ubisoft game, so everyone is working on it.
Yeah.
It's not only a Swedish game, but
Ooh.
the main studio is Massive Entertainment in Malmö. And
Ah.
and that
Love
got released just now. And as far as I'm aware, people are liking it.
I was a little skeptical, but I've heard good stuff, and I feel like it could be. People have saying it's a better Far Cry game than the current Far Cry, so I think that might be. Someone perked up.
Strong words.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually feels weird. There's not a lot of like licensed games that I'm very often keen on playing, but like this one seems like I might give it a go. Another one, like an all-time classic, King Kong, was a fantastic, spectacular game, but like everyone skipped it because the film was like mid, and also licensed games.
People
Don't
rarely
have to
talk
do
about that game, but I have to agree. I played it when I was a kid because I'm so young. But it was I remember it being quite impressive, even as a wee little lad. So yeah.
Definitely.
And
Definitely,
Avatar
yeah.
seems to be doing the same thing. I've heard, for example, that they have a very advanced audio system in this game where like individual plants have their own sound emitters, and you can. I've heard one guy, a friend of mine who played it, say that you could play the game with just your headphones and close your eyes, and the sound will speak to you, and you can navigate for that. So it seems to be doing some impressive stuff. So I'm looking forward to playing it myself when I have the time.
I know you didn't mean it as a wordplay, but like navigate through it. Oh, beautiful.
Of course, I meant to do that.
Oh.
No question about it.
So how
Not
about you,
bad.
Häll? Tell us a little bit about the Finnish games industry in the past year.
It's been good and it's been bad. Like so on the bigger side, so like we came out with Alan Wake 2 not long ago, and I say we as if I had I obviously did. But yeah, like so Remedy came out with it, and it's actually won I think 3 different categories. I had them somewhere: best game direction, narrative, and art direction in the Game Awards, which is really cool. And they actually played one of the songs on the stage as well on the show, and that was pretty cool. And it's a good song, and it's a really good game. I have not had the time to get into it yet, but that's been like one of the big ones. We had City Skylines 2 come out. City Skylines was like a big game.
I remember I played it.
It was a great game. Like, it had some issues for sure, but like what doesn't? But it was especially for like a small team, really great. And they got really lucky because SimCity just, they crapped their pants. Like they just like shot themselves in the foot and fell over, and people were like, come on. And then City Skylines and City Skylines came out now, and there were some technical issues, like a lot of them, but they've been fixing them, and I think the underlying product is good, but they've been working on that. But then we've had, unfortunately, a good handful of studios going under this year, because it's been a rough year in general, like in the game industry. Like there's a lot of funding being pulled out, and some companies are like relying on that so they can get further. So it's been a little bit rough in that sense. But then on the other hand, those people, all of them, found a job because then the other companies just nabbed them, which is good in that sense. But at the same time, it's always a shame when you lose these companies that are trying something interesting and new. But yeah, I would say like it's been pretty good. I mean, we've had a couple of other smaller games that came out, like Super Finnish Sledders. You're playing what do you call it? Like a snow sled, like a motorized one, like like how more like super Nordic. Like that's a very specific niche, and I think there's like I don't know how many people do that in real life, and how many of those people play games. But hey, there's a game for you. And a bunch of others. And I think maybe we should do like an indie episode where we just focus on like let's say top 5 indies from each of our countries. Like, that would be really, really cool. Anyway, enough about Finland. What's up, Norway?
Well, you guys kind of went quick through this because I had planned a whole 10-minute presentation of the Norwegian games industry. I have my statistics ready. I do technically have a PowerPoint presentation ready for this, even though I said I wouldn't because now I'm embarrassed and I don't want to show that. But I do actually have some numbers and stuff because we had our well, I mean, the numbers are from 2022. They're not from 2023. But it kind of gives an indication of what might be going on in the industry. And I mean, so if you'd like to give an overall broad view of the Norwegian games industry, we have about 67 to 75-ish companies in Norway. And I have to admit that when I was collecting that data, it was not including a lot of mobile companies. I mean, there are mobile companies on that list, but there are a lot of people that are not active in the game community. So it's a little hard for me to find out exactly who does mobile games because that's a little bit tricky. Because PC games is a little easier to track because you can go on Steam, you can go on lists online for Norwegian games, but for finding mobile games, it's a little trickier. So please take that with a grain of salt. We have about 69-ish to 75-ish game companies in Norway. Sorry. And it is growing. We had it's about 10 new companies in this last year. So that is I hate to say this because this is a little bit different from the rest of the world. And I want to mention that because Norway didn't get the same effect as a lot of the rest of the games industry did, and the reasoning behind that is also because the Norwegian games industry is very small, right? I mean, relative to other countries where they have massive budgets, the Norwegian games industry doesn't, and it has a very big support system from the government that gives a lot of funding. So when some people's funding is dried up, there was still that consistent amount of funding from the Norwegian government. So they are technically growing now this year, unlike other countries where they had, there were some other differences. So
you're like, I'm sorry, but we're growing.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have to be very careful because it's a very sensitive issue, right? But it's but it is it's an interesting thing to mention because it's in opposition to a lot of other countries. But that also has to do with the size, right? We didn't have those big budget games in the same way that a lot of other countries have, and those big budget investments are not here. So because there's so little investments in either investment companies or publishers that go into Norwegian games, that effect when those kind of started getting in trouble, it didn't really affect the Norwegian industry as much. So that's one interesting fact, at least that I thought about the Norwegian games industry. Is that we are actually growing compared to other countries.
Really cool. Can I ask? So you said 69 to 75. Somewhere around there. The amount of studios. Do you have any idea how many people, or like a rough estimate?
Yeah. So yes, there was a survey done about the Norwegian games industry that was released 4 weeks ago, maybe. Now that was for 2022. And there were approximately 433 employees. But also you have to take this with a grain of salt. I don't think they have every single studio has reported their numbers there, but the biggest studios have. And so there are approximately 433 employees in Norway. And if you compare that to Finland and Sweden, it's like a tenth of what Sweden and Finland have. So there is,
I think that's exactly, almost exactly a tenth of Finland. Like Finland is like 4,300, between 4,300 and 4,400. So it's almost exactly, yeah.
I think we're around 6,000 in Sweden, I think, is a number I've heard. So sounds about... No, wait. No, wait. I just looked up. I actually have the Dataspelsbranschen game index, and it seems to be... damn, this is like 7,000, maybe. Yeah, so around that.
So, even less.
Yeah.
So the Norwegian industry is a little bit different. So there is a bit of a number difference, but there is kind of one thing that I do want to mention that I'd like to, brag about a little bit here with the Norwegian games industry, with the numbers that were released, because in 2022 we had 29% women employees in the games industry in Norway, which is, I think, one of the highest in the world. And we finally, little Norway beat Sweden and Finland. So, and in something that's such a good thing to beat them in. So we're very pleased with that, or at least I don't know about the others in the industry, but I am very particularly pleased with that.
I will say that is really cool, and that's like an important step. And yes, you did beat both of us, and I'm just laughing here because we had a discussion when we were planning like the future episodes, and we are talking about this just between us, and Sylvia was like kind of gloating on it already then, and then of
What?
course you gotta slap it in today. But
Of
I mean,
course
to be
I
honest,
have to. I mean, come on.
you're proud of it. Yeah, it's good.
I'm representing the Norwegian industry. I got to do what I can, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, Finland has more foreigners working in the game industry than women. So it's like, yeah, we're just like, yeah,
But I
we're
mean, to be fair, it is moving up, and that is what we want, right? I mean, when you say 29%, you're like, oh, look, I'm so proud of 29%. And you were like, oh, 29% technically is really shit. We want 50, right? But it is moving up, because the year before, 2021, was 21% or 22%. Sorry, it was 22%.
That's a big leap. Nice.
Well, I mean, there were a lot of new employees. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm
Sorry.
wondering how this is gonna change in the future, because I am as a student, I'm seeing that all the game education in Sweden, for example, they're becoming more educations, and they're even growing in scale of like we're taking more and more students. So in the coming years, I think maybe the game educations will put more women into the industry, because people who might not been able to learn game dev in the way of like, yeah, I'm just a classic, oh, it's very okay for a boy to just sit with a computer all day, all night long, play games, and then start making your own game. Now with education, anyone, what doesn't matter the background, can just go, I want to learn how to make games. You apply and you get in. And I think that's gonna make it so much more different types of people enter the industry. And
Hopefully,
so
yeah.
that might be something that's gonna
Quick
change.
question: what's the ratio of your class?
So I will do it like this actually. My class, it is not looking good, but I am a second year. The new game design class, however, here in Future Games Boden, the statistics have changed quite a lot. I don't know exactly how many women compared to men are in the first year designer classroom, but I know that it is much more than we have. So, and actually, I would say that for all the education, because here in Future Games Boden, we have education for programming, we have game design, we have QA, and we have artists. We have a lot of different educations and VFX. And this year, with all the new students, like the amount of women just on the floor, it not even doubled. I think it's even more than that. So, and that's just from this year. So, all I can say is that since I've been here, a big increase in diversity. So hopefully we'll see an even bigger increase the year after this.
Well, it's interesting, because we did talk about this actually in one of our talks. We were looking at schools or education systems in the Nordics, or games education systems, and women or representing or having representation in the students was a topic we brought up, because as was noted by several of the teachers, they're usually the first year there are a lot of women, and then by the end there are not a lot of women. And that's something that the education system has to deal with, or figure out what's happening and why they are choosing to leave. Because I think it starts there, but also, of course, the culture in the different companies, the different ways of approaching having diversity in your workforce in general is going to be a huge major factor. But it starts in the schools. So. Yeah, so I'm curious, I mean, I'm happy for you. I didn't mean to rain on your parade. I'm just very curious if this is going to be a thing, or if it's a sign.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we all just want to make sure that in the end we have games being made by every representative person, and not only one type of person. That will only hurt the industry.
Absolutely.
I think you touched on something there when you said that, it's okay for a boy to sit there and make games. Blah, blah, blah. I think it's also because it's a little bit like film industry or music industry. You don't have to have papers to get in there. You can just work on your own and make a game or a film or whatever, and then that way get into the industry. And I think we're also seeing a big well, gradual, but like gradually big change in societal kind of views and attitudes, which changes it. It's not like, weird for a girl anymore, or like a woman to make games. And once we get that more cool and then okay, and then people start doing it on their own time, and they will end up in the industry. Because if in Finland, when I talk with people like women, so I would say the minority of them have come there through school. A lot of them were just sort of kind of self-taught. So there's that still. So I guess we can say there's still ways to go, but well done, Norway.
Well, thank you. Okay, I've got more statistics for you. Are you ready? Because we can talk about this with the different industries. Okay, so the turnover for games in Norway in 2022, this is 2022, was 55 million euros. And this, compared to Sweden and Finland, is peanuts, but it is an increase of, I wrote this down. Sorry, let me find it. It is an increase of 47% for the Norwegian industry from the year before. So it's like a boom. It's a huge, steep increase. So, but like I know that I can't remember the numbers for Sweden and Finland, but I think it was something like 4 times as much.
Finland is like
more.
2.4 billion.
2.4 billion euros.
We have
two
euros.
No, wait. I don't dare say this because I think this is Swedish crowns, but I think it's 32 billion Swedish crowns, I think.
Okay,
that's 4.2.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4.2 billion euros. Holy shit.
Okay, it was 3.2 in Finland. Yeah, 3.2.
So you can tell there's a little bit of a difference. 55 million, and we're like, hey, it's a 47% increase. Hey.
47 is a massive increase. Like 47%.
It is a massive increase. It is.
You keep that, and like it'll go.
Yeah, but well, I mean, we're hoping that, of course, but we don't know. I mean, but there are technically more and more games being released, because I've kind of started making an overview of the games released in Norway every year since 2000 let me look at my list. My list starts back in 2005. Is that before you, Marv?
That is actually after me. I am born in 2003, but...
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But it would have been fun if it was.
Lovely.
That would be... Ooh.
Sorry, I just had to ask.
Wait. So I gotta ask you, 2003. So you're just out of your teens. You're 20.
Yes.
Oh.
I know.
It
young.
Hurts.
I feel young.
But you're 20 plus. I've already said this. You're 20 plus.
That's true.
We're one of the same here.
Yeah, you're not 20 plus yet. You're 20. Good try, though. Anyway,
okay, so now we know. Yeah, no, the numbers are small, but it's definitely growing. I mean, why the industries are so different? I mean, there's a whole lot of debate around it, because I think somebody showed me one time, or I saw it on a presentation, the development of the Swedish and the Finnish games industry, and like how they were doing, like money wise and company wise and all that. And we were, for the longest time, we were identical, all of us. It was pretty much just like moving like that, and then all of a sudden I think it was Sweden that took off first, and then Finland, or one or the other, like one of them took off first, and then the other followed not long behind, and then Norway just stayed and didn't take off. And I mean, like, there are a lot of they
didn't get the memo to
they didn't get the memo. Well, I mean, there were a lot of different reasons, one of them being, amongst others, that you had the big phone companies and the technology companies, and Norway didn't have that. And so when those started collapsing, a lot of those people decided to stay in tech or in making games, and so you had a lot of people with experience that are, could be professional, and we didn't have that kind of experience with those big companies. So
I never thought I'd say this, but thank God Nokia died. It made it possible for the industry to...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I was like, you know what? My first phone was a Nokia, and I loved that phone.
I mean, I think for a lot of us, like when I say us, sorry, Marv, I don't mean you.
Not
I
you,
mean,
yeah.
I actually had Nokia as my first phone. Yeah.
oh,
Wait, he was
okay.
alive at the time?
You're a hipster.
Poor family. Poor family. I got the Nokia.
I mean, those things lasted, and they were like they were robust. The battery lasted for days. The devices themselves lasted. Like it's just yeah, very different game these days. But yeah, Nokia was cool for a while, and then it was dead.
Mm.
So, fun fact: Nokia still exists, but they do more like data, sort of whatever. And they won the bid. So when / if we ever do settle the moon, Nokia has the rights to build the network infra on the moon.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool, but let's wait to see it happen before we
Yeah.
say it's cool. Yeah. But I remember reading that. I was like, wait, what is this? What year are we living in? And it was interesting. But hey, did you have some games coming out this year? Did you have
we had a bunch of games coming out this year. So because we don't get as many games as, or I don't know, I don't actually know how many games were actually released in Finland and Sweden. But and please take this with a pinch of salt. I don't have all the mobile games that were released this year from Norway, because some of them are small games. Some of them I don't know the company, so I can't look them up and I can't check. But we do have a bunch of PC games that were released this year, which we're grateful for. We had Snow Castle Games had Ikone Island. Dirty Bit Games on mobile released Fun Run 4, which was a huge game. They're our second largest company in Norway. They're located here where I am in Bergen. We have Rain Games, also located here in Bergen. They released 2 games this year. Girl Genius, The Adventures in Castle Hatradine, and Teslagrad 2. We had, and then we have some very small, like 1-person indie studios or 2-3 people indie studios that released some games.
Those are the real ones. Yeah.
Those, well, the others are indie game companies too, but they're a bit larger and they have bigger budgets and they work full time on games. While the small companies usually take work for hire things, tasks, and then they work on it when they have the capacity to. So we had like Rest, we had a game called Ragnarok Survivors Valhalla, and then another bar game.
Bar game?
A bar game, yeah. It's the second game of a guy called Arik Games, and his first game was called Dude, Where's My Beer? And I think it was kind of like a small little hit because it was a funny kind of thing. I didn't play it, but I've heard fun people talking about it in a fun way. So yeah, his second game was another bar game.
Okay. Bar games, okay. I can get behind that. I can get behind that. There's a really good bar game, which is kind of like a people simulator in a way. It's called Valhalla, or that's how you name the name. It's like VA11 or something. Like anyway. It's like this sci-fi bar game where you are a bartender in a cyberpunk bar, and people are miserable, and you talk with them, and it's actually kind of fun.
Okay, because when you say people are miserable and you have to talk to them, it doesn't sound like fun.
Well, it's like it's they're not all miserable, but it's also like some relationship issue. Like it's a very sort of like a dating sim without the dating part, which makes it sound bad, but like it's actually pretty good.
Okay. I'll take your word for that.
I've actually heard multiple people who actually want that dating sims that aren't about dating. I've even heard people complain that Baldur's Gate 3 has too much sexual romance, and they want like
There's no such thing.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. In a fictional universe.
No. But please, I'm just saying it. But please don't take it as a.
No.
Yeah.
No, but like,
it's rule now.
Yeah. My rule is law.
No, but like.
No, go on, Marv.
I think a lot of people feel like forging friendships can sometimes be kind of overlooked in gaming RPGs, where it's like more just that romance option. I want to have that option, and not really as good of a written narrative for just really making close friends. So it's interesting actually that you touched upon that.
But I have to agree. I know this is not on our topic, but I have to agree, because when you say that, I was immediately thinking of Mass Effect, the original series, and I remember thinking, what?
Yes, are we thinking about Garrus?
Garrus,
Like
yeah. So
Yes.
see, like, no, because I romanced Garrus, but oh, come on, you don't get him until the third game, and then it's like really particular. Like you cannot romance anybody else, and you have to romance him, and only from the start. And I remember I played that game at the same time as my best friend, and he'd played it many times before. And he's like, I think you're going to love this game. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to play it alone. So we played it at the same time, different places, and he made different choices, but we played at the same time. And if I had a problem, I'd be like, can you help me out? He'd be like, yeah, you just have to go there. And he said to me at the start of that game, there is one character in this game I have a feeling you're going to fall in love with. And I would like to see if that's true. And then you meet Garrus in the first 10 minutes of the game. And within the first minute of meeting him, I was like, "Oh, it's him, isn't it? I'm already. This is the one." Like you don't have to say anything. And he was like, "Well, shit."
Well,
It didn't
like very
take
many
any
of us,
time.
yeah.
It did not take any time. I was like, "This is my man." And but to be fair, you have to be friends with him for 3 games, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So I mean, when you said it, and I was like, no, there's no such thing as too much romance. You're right. I do love that whole getting friends aspect, and all of the DLCs for Mass Effect. I mean, I'm like totally on this Mass Effect promotion tour here right now, but like all the DLCs where you're getting to know the different characters.
Yeah.
That was really the best, almost the best part of the game for me, because I loved it.
I mean, I think even in general, the companion quests were like the highlights, the peaks of the game very often. I really enjoyed. I have to make a small confession here. So my original romance in Mass Effect was Ashley, the space racist, because I got this strong. Like I can fix her, I can heal her.
So now we know what kind of people we look for, huh?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. So, but like I did have many good moments with Garrus. He was a beautiful, pointy-headed boy.
Yeah.
Fond memories of that. Yeah.
And he was also the best boyfriend as well. So like either way, Garrus is just
The goat.
I'm gonna say, I will say, like, not to diminish Garrus's role. Like Garrus was like peak. He was like S tier, but his competition was pretty shit. Like the other boyfriend material,
Okay.
they were like,
yeah, you have a point.
Yeah.
It was like, who else am I really gonna choose from here? That's a good point.
Yeah.
But like Rex was fun.
Rex was not bad.
We like himbos. Yeah.
Yeah. You do have a thing for these murderers, don't you? Bad boys.
Not based on my dating sim history. I go for the himbos. So
Fair. Look at you using himbo. I remember last year we had like a big discussion about himbo being negative and positive. Look at you. This is a character arc. I'm proud of you. You have grown as a person, Sylvia. It's okay. Just accept. Just roll with it. Just we all love himbos. Himbos are good. I will quickly roll back to Baldur's Gate 3 when Marv mentioned that it was people are looking for dating sims without the dating part, and I think what I found, like, Baldur's Gate 3 was really interesting because there was a lot of people who are not into computer role-playing games, but then they heard of the dating sim part of the game and they went to play it, and some of them complained that there was like too much fighting in this dating sim, but like they still enjoyed the game. And I think Baldur's Gate is like, it's a really good game. It's really well made, and I think it speaks of the, like, very highly of the game that even people who normally aren't into it, they manage to rope them in with well-written characters, good romances, good friends, good story, good world, good mechanics, and the people stayed there. And yeah, I was you don't get those games too often. And unfortunately, it's not from the Nordics, so obviously it can't be the best game because we have
Close enough.
It's from Europe, like it's all the same. To be fair, the lead of the project, his first name is Sven, so like
Yeah, I mean,
we can appropriate him and the game. Yeah, definitely. Not Sweden, the Nordics.
Yeah.
But I hate to say this because, like, I feel like I don't really know. Larian is in Ireland, right?
Belgian. but it's
They're
also in
Belgian?
Ireland.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they have like an offshoot in Ireland, but I think
Oh,
they're Belgian.
because I was
Yeah.
going to say if they were Irish, then Ireland is half Norwegian, right? Right? I mean, because we got a lot of the Vikings going over there pillaging and stuff, back in the days, right? So like Ireland, right?
Is it like, I don't know, Belgium saying like, yeah, Congo is still like, Belgium. Like,
We're gonna get canceled. Don't say. Well, I shouldn't
that
have
was
said
it.
that.
This is it.
Sylvia. Viv, we can cut that out of our YouTube stream,
Not an
right?
official stance. Ireland is still part of Norway because of the Viking raids.
Yeah. No. Oh man,
Sounds good.
they're
To
gonna
be
murder
fair,
me.
to
I
be
didn't mean
fair,
it like I meant it I meant to be funny.
to
I
be
feel
fair,
guilty now.
I think they would still choose you over England, so you're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be worse.
Yeah.
Okay. Oof. And Viv wrote that she can cut this out. That's good.
Yeah, no cutting. The people need to know the truth about
True.
Norway.
How horrible Sylvia is.
Exposed. Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we should move on
Yes.
to the next topic.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have essentially two, and I would actually flip them the order. So I would actually maybe talk about the personal game of the year now, and then we'll talk about what we're going to be playing.
Ooh, personal game of the year.
Yeah, so hit me.
Oh man, I didn't. I forgot that question.
Prepare?
I didn't prepare for that question. Oh man. Okay, you're gonna have to go first, Marv. Sorry.
Okay, Marv.
Well, I know what I'm going to be playing, but maybe it might be so that I have not prepared my personal game of the year. But that's okay. That's okay. I will have this in like
Searching your heart.
Okay.
You'll
Okay, though, Häll. Now you can start then while we're thinking of our personal game of the year.
Fair. I will a quick addendum to this. It's like I've had a very hectic year, and I've noticed that at the moment I've had a hard time getting into very big or very sort of story heavy games. I just don't have mine is too full of stuff. So it's been very So it's been very sort of gameplay first kind of game, and weirdly enough, I would say it's a good game, but I wouldn't say like it's objectively a great game. Like it does a lot of stuff good, but Lies of P was a game where I could just sort of like play that and lose focus of the world and just like focus on the gameplay, and it was kind of like it's a good game, but because of me being able to just forget all the things I have to think about and worry about and blah blah blah, it kind of elevated the game to be better than it maybe is in an objective way, and I really quite enjoyed that. There's been a handful of like smaller indie games I quite enjoyed. Slime 3K was like one that was kind of fun as well. But like I don't know, Lies of P. It also hit me when I was recovering from COVID, so it's just like a lot of things that happened. Like I was like getting better, and I was like, oh, and then it gave me something to like. It was just like the perfect storm of things that made it just like hit real hard. And I think it's still a good game, but I think just these things like made it like way bigger for me.
Was that game released this year?
Yeah, it came out this autumn.
Okay.
Maybe like a month, 2 months ago, something like that. I don't know. Yeah, and it's also interesting. I think it's a Korean company who made it, but it's based on Pinocchio. Like if you've ever seen Miyazaki films that take place in vaguely Europe, you see like sometimes the image of Europe is very different than the reality of Europe, and I think the same thing happened here. That the kind of industrial revolution era Europe was condensed in a very interesting way. It's like a mix of English and French and like very like it's interesting. But yeah, that's my answer. Was that enough time, or do I need to keep talking?
Yeah, go for it, Marv.
Yeah, so okay, my personal game of the year this year is very, very difficult, mainly because I've been working a lot. I haven't played that much, but I have played some games. I'm not. I'm doing my job here, getting the research needed. No, but like there's a lot of good games this year that I have thoroughly enjoyed. Hi-Fi Rush was one that I was like surprised by. It came out of nowhere. I just got in Game Pass and I was like, oh my god, amazing. A lot of Nordic games I played this year that I really, really like. One is Super Hand Adventures, actually, made by a solo dev called Devim Games, I think. That's like, I would describe it as Super Mario 3D World meets the Adams hand, the thing from the Adams Family.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah,
Yeah. I haven't played it. I remember watching the trailer. I'm like, this looks sick. Yeah.
It's really, really fun. It's just creative, stupid fun. One time you will be riding a skateboard as the hand, and then you're driving a car. It's amazing. But I think, weirdly enough, my game of the year this year is not a game from this year. I will still just mention because it's so unrecognized and I love it so much. And that is Toem, a photo adventure. That is also Nordic, actually. It's made in Sweden in like 2021, but I played it this year. And it is incredible. You play as this little creature called Toem, and you take pictures to help people with their lives. It's extraordinary. It screams Nordic. Like the characters.
It looks really
everything.
cozy. It looks really
So
cozy.
cozy. I played on the PS5 and it had great with all the PS5's brand new interesting mechanics. It worked perfectly. And just taking the photos in that game, it's kind of like Scribblenauts if you play that game. It has some similarities to that. And yeah, I just love it a bit. It's made by Something We Made, and in I think it's one of those very small places, not Stockholm, but I don't remember where it was made. But Something We Made is the studio who made it, and yeah, I love it a bit. So those are my favorite games of this year.
Good answers. Not bad. I think I might have to put Toem on my list to get into.
Absolutely, do that.
It looks like bite size as well, which is nice right now. It's not too big. So Norway.
Yeah. Okay. So I finally thought through it, and I went through my Steam list. I was like, what game did I play this year? And then there was one game that did like, why? How did I not remember this? But I played Venba, which is an Indian cooking game. And it's made by a company in Canada, and I have to say this because one of the people working on that game actually spoke at Console, one of the one of the conferences that I organized that's here in Norway.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a really interesting producers talk about the game, and but I played Venba, and it's just like this sweet game where you're helping your mom cook and you're learning a little bit about your culture and your history and your family and all that. And I really just appreciated something simple and sweet and heartwarming. And of course, cooking is something, I mean, like, I don't enjoy it as much as I love eating. So, but I enjoy kind of learning a little bit about it and you know, having a runny mouth because I get so hungry by some of these recipes that are made.
Mm-hmm.
So Venba was the game that I really loved this year.
That's a good call. That's a good call. I feel that because sometimes like just the simplicity of like a game that knows what it's going for, like it's really nice. I think last year I mentioned Unboxing, which is a pixel art game where you just unboxing, like you're moving like as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult, young adult, and older, and then like and it's not long. It's like 3 hours maybe, but it's gorgeous and the vibe is immaculate, and it was the perfect thing to just like zen. And I think this is like kind of similar, that you have this, it knows what it is and it focuses on that, and it looked really, I had a quick look on the Steam page, and like it looks really nice. And also the mouth watering thing, there's this on Netflix, there's a series called Samurai Gourmet or Gourmet Samurai, which is like, it's like 9 episodes or something. It's this like old man who is pensioned in or a senior in like gets retired from work, a salaryman in Japan, and then he just goes around trying like to find food and like his nostalgic childhood food, or like the first episode, like, can I have a beer during the day? And then he goes there, and because it's Japan, it has to be weird. So he imagines this Ronin who does stuff, and then he can follow the Ronin, and like it's a little silly. But the thing, we watch it with my wife, and every single episode we're just like, we have to eat before, because otherwise we. Like, it's so good, the food they make there. Oh my god.
But let me tell you, it probably tastes that good too.
This is true.
Not just
This is
looking
true.
good. Well, you were not just in Japan, weren't you?
Yeah. I was there for like, my wife was there for a little over 3 months, and I was there for like a little
3
over 2 weeks.
months.
Yeah, she was working there, so.
Wow.
And then, like, I will say the food. I'm not even a foodie person, but like, Jesus Christ, food in Japan.
Mm.
I can't blow enough air out of my mouth to signify how good the food is.
Yep.
But yeah. Okay, so we have pretty good games of the year, and I like it's very different. We have one mainstream, hello, and two hipsters, cool. And then I guess it is time for what are we playing this Christmas?
Mm. I'll start this time because this is going to be controversial. After 12 years. After 12 years.
Is it still the same game?
After 12 years, I've decided to go back to WoW. And so, I mean, I already told you about this, but I'm going back to WoW. I started like last week or something, week before or something, and started playing again, making a new character because I'm playing the Wrath of the Lich King version, the old version
classic.
of it, classic, yeah. And then I tried the new one that came out. Oh god, I can't even remember what they're called anymore. The one where there's like they change everything, but you're playing classic, but the classes are now changed to like warlocks can tank and all these things. Yeah, they've decided to make a whole new kind of thing to things. So like you have all these different types of editions, and I never remember the different names of them. But like it is a classic, but then they've made a little twist to it, so that
the time something where it's like they do go through the whole thing in like a year or two or something. Yeah,
I don't honestly know. I just got back into it, and I've not been looking it up too seriously. So, but I've just been playing Wrath mainly. Classic. Yeah.
Not bad. I mean, it's a little worrisome. So our producer just said that they got into Magic the Gathering again. And we're like, oh my god, that's like heroin.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh yeah, World of Warcraft, that's another heroin.
Yeah, I even wrote my master's thesis on World of Warcraft. So like it felt so weird going back. And I have to admit, like I have gone back to it, and that's what I will be playing this vacation. And it is different because I mean, for different reasons, of course. There are not as many players, but sorry. But people are not as social.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. Like the game.
I feel like such an old lady. But like when I used to play, I'd randomly group up with people and we'd talk and it'd be nice and I'd made friends. And now I've been playing for like 2 weeks or something, and nobody talks to me. And I like be like, hey, I'm doing the same quest. Do you want to group up together? And then they'll group up, and then like they'll say nothing, and I'll be like, oh, thanks for this, and blah, blah blah, and they'd be like nothing, and they leave, and it's like, or GG, and then they leave, and it's like, okay.
Yeah,
what happened. Yeah.
I remember when they came out with Classic, and I tried it, and I was surprised how much the game mechanics pushed people to collaborate and cooperate, and the later every I think every expansion kind of removed more and more of that because they made it more like single playery.
Yeah, because then you can suddenly do the dungeon groups and stuff. Dungeon finder or whatever, and you don't need to find people and talk to people or find people that are nice and then stick with them.
Man, I remember in vanilla like just like searching, like putting like Silver Pine Forest, and then you like search for different levels and like, hey, this one's here. Oh, there's a priest, and then you send a message and you're like, hey, we're doing Scarlet Monastery. We're looking for a healer and and they're like, no, or then maybe, and then like, okay, and then it's gonna take me 15 minutes to ride there. We're like, oh, cool, we'll wait, and then they come there, and then you go, and then maybe someone's weapons broke in the middle of the run, and they would have to hearth back to Undercity, and then they would have to repair and travel back, and we'll wait for them. And like it was a commitment back in the day.
Yeah.
I still have some of those.
Yeah, I mean, I have such good memories of it.
Yes.
I mean, I
Good
had
time.
I had a guild that was with me that I was in or led for like 4 years or something, and we were just the best of friends. And even to this day, I'm still good friends with several of those guildies, and we like visit each other regularly, like once a year, just
Yeah.
as friends. And so like to me, WoW has this like really special place in my heart, even though I gave it up. But like I'm coming back, and I'm like I'm kind of hoping to get that same feeling, and it's not there, and I'm like But I do love. But I do love those little sounds that you hear, and my fingers automatically, getting moving from the what is it called when it's like automatic. There's a certain word for it. My brain is not functioning, but like, for instance, I knew what button I had I play a Shadow Priest, and so like where my dispersion was. So now that I'm building this new character and I'm playing it, all of a sudden my finger would start tapping the dispersion button and stuff. I'm like, oh wait, no, that's not how we do things. Like it's not set up, and the key bindings are not the same. So even though it's been 12 years, but.
Oh yeah, I played a shaman as well, like an enhancement shaman for so long. Oh yes, there are some deep core memories right there. Yeah. So I feel you. I think it's full disclosure. You did tell us about this earlier, and then you started talking. I had completely forgotten, and for some reason, I thought you were going to say again, like, "Yeah, I'm going to go back to play Total War again."
But actually, I am going to go back to play Total War too, as well. But you see, I got a new computer, and it actually arrived a week ago, and it's a fabulous computer. But I actually am having problems playing Total War on it, and it's not because it's like. Because this computer is way better than my old one, but it's just stuttering constantly. And then I've been looking online, like what's causing this. And then there are several people that have this same problem because I have an AMD graphics card. It's something to do with my graphics card and AMD. And then you have to do some special programming shit on something. And I don't know how to do that. And I don't know how to fix it. And I don't want to learn either. So I'm like, how much effort do I have to put in to make this work? Because this is not the game's fault. This is the driver or the graphics card's fault, but yet there's no update needed to AMD, and it's like, well, then what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
I had a problem with WoW as well, but then there was like I had to go through a list of different fixes, and there was some button that I could click and it would work. But why do I have to do that in the first place? Like this is supposed to be a new computer that I paid a lot of money for. So why are my games not working? This is irritating. So AMD, I'm watching you.
AMD, get your shit together.
Get your shit together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Sorry. So Total War.
I will say one last thing about World of Warcraft Classic is I'm now that Bobby Kotick is getting kicked out of the company, and they paid the gender harassment lawsuit and everything. I think next year I can finally start playing, and I really want to play hardcore World of Warcraft. So I'm going to be joining you at some point. So yeah,
okay.
This is very hypocritical of me to be here. Like,
looking forward to playing with you.
Hell yeah,
that came out wrong, but you know what I meant.
Just call me Garrus, baby. Marv.
Yeah. So when my Christmas break comes up now, I think that I will be playing one thing that I think everyone else has played already, but I had made a commitment. You see, when this game came out, I knew that it was not finished, and I wanted that game which I was promised. So I didn't look up a single thing. I have been keep myself spoiler free, waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. I will finally be playing Cyberpunk 2077 without knowing anything.
Wow.
For years I waited.
Wow. That's dedication.
I will say that was probably a smart move.
Yeah. Like now they've released the final version. It's all there. I can finally play the game I wanted to play.
The game is finally actually ready. Yeah.
Yes. So
okay. So you're going to be gone for approximately 180 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And it's okay. Yeah. I'll be coming back when we're doing the next streams. I'll be ready by then. I promise. Hopefully.
Keep us updated how it goes. It's yeah. I've
Was
been
it
thinking
worth
about
it? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Was
We'll
it
see.
worth waiting? Yeah.
I remember people complaining about how broken it was before, so I feel like you definitely are going to have a better first experience than a lot of people. So yeah, hell yeah. Okay, that's unexpected commitment, like Sylvia said. That is not bad, not bad. I mean, like, not to mention 3 years. That's like what, like a quarter of your life. Like, it's gonna be crazy.
You're so mean.
And during this last year, I've had the opportunity to start
Maybe
learning
as well.
Polish. So I'm like, I'm prepared. I'm gonna be in the mindset.
Oh,
Nice, not bad, not bad. Okay. Uh, mine is a little bit like I want to try to get to Alan Wake, but I'm still not sure if I have the mind space to get into like very story driven games, and I'm gonna try that. If not, I'm just gonna go and there's a bunch of really cool indie games, and then I'll just gonna go get into those. There's like this Shadows of Doubt, which is a really cool. It does like this procedurally generated detective story. So you're in a city and you gotta figure out, and it makes like really cool, like most of the time, really cool stories. But the thing is, like, you can go in almost any apartment, you can look at anyone's trash, and you can talk with anyone, and like it gives it like it doesn't feel like so on rails like a lot of detective games. So I think that's gonna be a little broken, but possibly like a really cool experience. Yeah, I'm gonna go into those, and I will. When I mentioned the game of the year, so Vampire Survivor was something I played a lot, and there's a lot of Vampire Survivor clones, and I think I might go into those. They're very gameplay and no story almost. So I'm just, I don't know about my headspace. We'll see. Maybe in January I'll just come back like my beard is like, and I'm just like, oh yeah, Alan Wake, guys. We'll see. Who knows? Hey, it's 8 o'clock. I think we need to.
yeah.
Start. Yeah, we have some plans of this the coming year, so we can quickly maybe mention those. And quickly we'll go through a little bit what's coming up, and I think maybe we could quickly say, so this is the second year. We're starting the third year of Icebreakers, which feels crazy.
That feels so crazy.
I listen to a bunch of podcasts, and every time they do like their birthday kind of, and they're like, oh my god, we've been doing this for 5 years. I'm like, yeah, you've been doing this for 5 years. Now I've been doing this for like almost 3 years. I'm like, holy shit, the third year, where did the time go? So I understand. My apologies to all podcasters that I've been like, come on, what are you talking about? I understand you now. So like I said, I'm hypocritical apparently. But really quickly, Sylvia, any thoughts about our second year?
Oh, no, well, it's been nice. We've had more streams this year than before, but we've been more focused this year on different jobs in the games industry. So before it was a little bit more of random topics and a lot of off-topic conversations we had, but this year was kind of, we've sort of focused in on what we want to do. I think it's going to be looking at the different game dev jobs, because the games industry is so much bigger than you think it is. It's not just a programmer, an artist, and a designer. It's so much more.
It's like one or two more people, like roles.
Yeah. Do you need anything else?
Exactly.
No, so I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yep.
No, that was it. I just that I've enjoyed it. So yeah.
It's been good. It's been good, and it's always fun to hang out with you guys. And I guess the big change is also like Kim has gone to do his like pursue other stuff and got very busy with his work, and he couldn't continue, and that's why we have our wonderful Marv here, and
which we're happy to have.
Definitely, it's good to have. And I this is how it goes, Kim was getting a little old. He was like, he's going to turn 23, so we had to change to a younger model. So we got this barely 20-year-old here now.
Wow.
Hey, you were trying to get us canceled, so I'm just joining you.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's true. That's true.
So yeah, but like I think that's the biggest change. But I think we also found kind of like the thing to do, and it's something I think it's really nice to have a somewhere to point people to when they ask about different roles in the game industry, and you're like, hey, actually, Icebreakers YouTube here, like there's interviews with all the roles, and you can find out what to do. So yeah, I think it's been pretty cool, and I think next year is going to be
we have a good
intense.
plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
our next stream is going to be in January, so only a month from now, on the 24th, the 24th of January, so Wednesday the 24th at 6 p.m. Norway time, 7 p.m. Finland time. And our first topic of the year is going to be audio design. Because I don't think that's a topic that's so relevant and it is so big, and people don't realize it, because if they've done a good job, you don't realize it. You know?
Yes.
So audio is not really so much the music as it is all of the sounds that you hear in games. So I'm really looking forward to getting those interviews, or interviewing them and learning a little bit about that role.
Maybe we should get someone from the Avatar team, because Marve was like really praising their audio side. So
I'll ask a guy.
yeah. I feel bad going back to Housemarque, but they did the Returnal game, and that had like phenomenal sound.
Yeah.
Like I remember just having the headphones and playing, and I was like, "Is it actually raining?" And I had to take off. It's like, "Oh no, it's not actually. It's just like it was just like it was really good. Like the sound design and where the enemies and like how it was good shit."
That was my
so yeah,
first
that's
PS5 game, and yes, I agree. Amazing, incredible job.
Oh, finally someone who's played it, because there's not a lot of people who played it, but
I
it was my
even-
game of the year.
I not only played it, when I went to Finland that same year, I went past their office just to go like. So
Nice.
yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Amazing game.
You know what? If you end up in Finland, I'll make sure I'll hook you up with like I don't know, one of the devs, like maybe the narrative designer or someone. Like they love to boast in the glory of the game, because it was honestly, it was such a good game. Like it was intense, and it was like the gameplay and how well it controlled, and like never mind. That was we need to move on.
Okay, so our January stream is going to be on audio design, and then we'll be going every other month, other than during summer vacation when we're going to take a break. And we'll be talking about level design, concept artists, AI programming, the business side of the industry, or one part of the business side of the industry, and then we're going to do another end of the year summary. So our year is planned out, and I'm very excited to learn more about the different parts of the industry.
For sure, there might be one or two little, off the record, or like this kind of chill one.
Marve and I are going to be gaming together. Where, in other words, Marv is going to game and I'm going to yell at him to do better. We have some plans.
Can't go wrong.
We're gonna play some games from the Nordics. So if you have any particular games that are short-ish, then let us know that you might want us to play from the Nordics, and we're gonna stream it. Well, so Marv will play and I'll yell at him. It sounds like a great winning combination.
You know what? So I'm really bad at playing horror games, and I played Resident Evil 8 Village, which some people say it's not even a horror game. It is a horror game. It's an action horror, but it's a horror game. Like half of it is horror, half of it is camp and action. But anyway, like that's a good example. Like that's a good way to tell you how bad I am at playing horror games. Like I couldn't play that unless I streamed it, so my friends could watch me on Twitch, and then they would say something. So maybe we can use this to help me get through another horror game, and you can watch me scream and suffer and die.
Alien Isolation. We'll do that one.
It has to be a Nordic game.
But I mean, it's made in England, I'm pretty certain. So that's technically Norwegians then.
Now that you mention it, but England, wasn't that also Sweden and Denmark? I mean, technically.
Well, the Norwegians went there. So
we went to the north though. So the Danes and the Swedes went south.
Are there any Nordic horror games? Oh, Amnesia.
Yeah.
That's
Amnesia.
Swedish.
Yeah.
Technically, isn't Returnal a horror game?
Well, it's
the house is scary.
more specifically action with a side of horror, whereas Resident Evil is more balanced.
Okay.
It's more creepy than horror, maybe.
Because we have some like creepy games. I'm not sure if they qualify as horror from.
Like what?
Well, I mean, so we have Among the Sleep, which was like you're playing a baby and your parents, and then like you're going through a night and your parents are fighting and monsters come out, and you have to kind of get through this. It's kind of like a psychological thing. It's not really horror.
Is that Norwegian?
Yeah, Among the Sleep. Yeah.
Oh my
But that sounds a little bit
God.
like Little Nightmares, and I'm not. I don't know
That's
why, but I'm
Sweden.
feeling that's Swedish. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. God damn it, Sweden! You've done it all.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Well, I mean,
Also-
compared to Norwegian industry, what were we saying? How big
Yeah.
they were? 5% of the Swedish industry now, and then we make 1/20th or whatever of your revenue.
Sweden's always got to be the biggest. You know, they're
Yeah.
the bully. You know, it is how it is.
Yeah.
It is how it.
For better and for worse. Yeah.
Are there any? The only game I can think of from Denmark is Hitman. Or
Oh no,
IO
no,
Interactive.
they have Inside. Is it Inside? It was, what is it? The really good why am I?
Oh, the artsy game. Yeah. Inside.
Yeah.
And then they had the black and white one.
Yeah. Well, Inside is kind of like black and white, but the same company. What did they Play Dead?
No, Inside isn't black and white. That's the one with a little bit of color. And then they had before that the black and
Limbo.
white one. Limbo.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I didn't realize that.
They have one that's kind of a sleeper hit, and that is Rubber Bandits. Actually, it's also a Danish game that has been. It was on Game Pass, so a lot of people started playing it. They have a lot of games actually that I will not remember.
I will have to look at Rubber Bandits. Rubber Bandits for me is just this small 2-man Irish band that have, plastic bags on their heads, and they sing about, having a horse instead of a car. So I need to look into this second Rubber Bandit, fake Rubber Bandits. So yeah. Okay.
It is very Danish. Like, it's the most Danish game I think I've ever seen in my life. The music,
when you say
like
Danish,
everything.
so
What
Danish
is
stereotypes. Yeah, because for me that is like
Beer.
rockabilly music, beer, and slightly sexual deviant. That's like Danish.
And also being like pleasant. Like, cause
Well, sure, like hygge.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
the Danes are kind of known for getting along with everybody, right? Like they're nice.
Yeah, we
I
all.
think we have very different stereotypes.
We have different stereotypes but we have the same when it comes to Sweden. So like we can agree on that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Poor Marv.
I don't know if I
Today we're
dare
picking
say
on him.
anything about Denmark now. But
Yeah.
but Denmark is like I always see it as a kind of like a showman country. I know a lot of theater, a lot of that kind of like a lot of culture. Yeah, Denmark is so much culture. That's kind of how I see it. And Rubber Bandits is very Danish because of it playing a lot like we've seen the Olsenbanden. Those movies, it's very similar to that, and it has that classic Danish music with some. Yeah, it's I don't know. The stereotype for me of Danish people just screams Rubber Bandits. So
This is okay. I'm just looking at Rubber Bandits, and this looks way too positive for being Danish. Like Danes do like Nordic noir like stories, and it's black, and everything's it's always raining, and it's always miserable, and people are always like, and
Welcome to Scandinavia and the Nordics.
Aren't you from
This is what we
Finland?
do. This is what we do. All of our countries do this.
saying we're not the same. I'm just saying my idea of Danish culture. That said, I have met some lovely Danes. Like Danes are quite nice. They're a little too proud about their money, but otherwise they're
Really?
coins with holes. Get over yourself.
But we have coins with holes.
Yeah, but you don't go on about it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's true. And Norwegian would never do that. Norwegian,
we just have too many bills. We don't need
Yeah.
to worry about the coins to dry
Coins
our
are for
tears.
poor people, yeah. You know what? You
Reuse
should forget about the bills. You just take the raw oil and just like slap it
Mm.
all over.
You know, I
That's-
have. Not on my face, but no, I was at an oil spill and I was helping clean up the oil spill, and that was a very interesting thing when you're in the. You have to just because you have to do it by hand when it gets on the beach. So you're just on the beach like picking up oil by hand and putting it in buckets.
I don't know why, but that sounds like a rite of passage for Norwegian kids. They're like, "Oh, you're almost an adult. It's time for you to go to the oil fields and clean some oil with your hands." And then you there.
No,
That's
that
how I say the Norwegians.
no, it was just it was a boat that what's the word in English that hit
Capsized?
ground? Yeah, capsized,
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
and so the oil spilled out from the boat, and so yeah,
Yeah, I
went and
think
helped clean it up.
I'm not an oil expert, but I think generally it's better to have the oil inside the
I think so
tanker
too.
than
Yeah,
outside. Yeah,
I was the first person because it was in January 3rd. So I was out there January 3rd in a storm
That's
with,
cold.
and then you can't like when you're cleaning the oil from the ground, you can't like touch yourself or anything. Like, and my nose was running, and and this lady would have to come every 30 minutes to let me blow my nose. Like she would have to come and blow my nose for me. It was the weirdest experience. But
Best job
sorry,
ever.
we're totally going off topic here with with cleaning up oil spills
To
in
be fair,
Norway.
it's an off-topic episode, so
That's true.
I think we're
That's true.
fine. We're fine. But imagine being like, so what did you do in 2021? Well, like, I was like the nose blow person. I blew people's noses. What?
Went around and put a paper on everybody's nose.
Yep. I will quick shout out to Denmark and IO Interactive. They made a game called Freedom Fighters, which is a super generic name. Also, it is more American than a lot of American games I've seen. It was like this where Soviet Union like vaguely different historical timeline where Soviet Union still was around, and then they surprised America and attacked and took over, and then you're like this plumber proper American man who's a plumber, and then you start this freedom fighter and you live in the sewers and you do this. Like, it was actually a really cool game that, like, I don't know, 20 people played, and I met like two other people who enjoyed it, and everybody who played it are like, yes, freedom fighters, and then everyone else is like, sounds kind of ass. I'm like, so well done, Denmark. And also thanks for what's his name, the actor, the
Matt
Nicholson?
Yeah, Matt
Mads
Nicholson.
Mikkelsen. Yeah. Thank for that. That's some good eye candy right there.
Oh yes.
Yes. So that's cool. Well done, Denmark. You're allowed to be in the Nordics. You've earned your place.
Wow.
Finland has spoken, and you may stay for at least one more year.
What? Yeah. We need a second Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah,
Where's the
yeah,
sequel?
exactly. Yeah, where's the sequel?
Yeah. Speaking of, okay, quick question. Iceland. Do you know anything else than EVE Online? From
That has been
Iceland?
released?
Or anything? I'm
Well,
sure
I mean,
there has
because we
to
had
be.
the interview that the last time we had, was it with an Icelandic?
Was that the first one? The one I missed because I was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't remember the name right now, but it's the game they haven't released any other games. It's their first time, but it's going to be
Okay.
a relatively bigger company, or like not big, but not AAA, but it's a bigger indie company will be releasing a game. Sorry, that's all I remember.
Yeah.
So there are
Okay.
indie companies, as far as I've been told.
Well, Iceland also gets a pass because A, they have an active volcano. B, they have a gorgeous nature, which Denmark doesn't. I'm sorry to say. And also they like pretty often just stop all air travel in Europe, which is kind of cool, kind of metal in a way. So well done, Iceland, for building a civilization next to a volcano.
And I mean, actually, it's kind of funny you mentioned Iceland because I know that Iceland doesn't have a big video game industry, but I do know that one big game that keeps getting new re-releases all the time is very, very Icelandic, and that is Death Stranding, because the entire environment is Iceland, and
That is true. I never thought about it.
yeah, and the music in the game, the original artists, the artists made the original works, they are Icelandic artists. So it's very, very Icelandic actually. So that's a little
Okay.
fun fact.
You heard it here first. Death Stranding Iceland Simulator. There you go.
Yeah.
The name of the company was Myrkur Games. Myrkur Games. So MYKYR. Myrkir.
So like poorly spelled Mercury. Mercury?
Myrkir.
Well, not poorly, but like
Myrkir.
differently.
I don't know how they pronounce it themselves, and I feel like I'm butchering the name. But yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
the other game company. It's kind of.
I think we
coming
can
out
leave
right
that
now.
like maybe in
Yeah.
a link in the description or something. But yeah, I think it is time to wrap this up. It's
Yes,
already
it is.
20 past 8. It's been. But then the problem with you guys, it's too fun to hang out with you guys. So,
It is.
and we did meet physically last year, and we should now that Marv is on, we should meet again. Let's make it happen. Preferably sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Well, it's either we're going to Finland or we're going to Norway this time because we got to make a choice because last time was Sweden. So we've got to go
always
somewhere else.
Sweden. Yeah, exactly. Sorry to say,
I'll do
Marv.
either. I'll do either.
Yeah, you have it easy. You can just yeah.
Exactly. And
Classics.
especially now that I'm in Boden, because it's like it's equal. Like I can just go to Finland or I can go to Norway. Of course, then I'm in the middle of nowhere. So, but technically speaking, I'd be there really easily. So,
Fair enough. Hey, it was lovely chatting with you guys. It was, thank you, all you darlings watching there. And Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to Sylvia. Merry Christmas to Viv. Merry Christmas, Marv. Even, you know what? What the hell? Merry Christmas, Kim, wherever you are with your journey. Nothing but the best and love to you and to all of you. I am looking forward to talking with you again, and let's honestly make that physical meeting happen again. It was really, really cool.
It was.
Thank you for this year and all the episodes, and Viv for being a producer, Sylvia for being a wonderful host, and thank you for taking care of the last episode that was actually when I was playing, like I had COVID and I was like getting back from that. That's when I was playing Lies of P. So yeah, I was like out of it. So thanks for taking care of the last episode.
It was fun. But thank you so much also because you are our main host here, and we really appreciate having you leading us like this. And you always have so many interesting things to say. So I'm very glad that we are all together on this. But I wish. Yeah, but we're friends because we have to just pick on Sweden. Like that's the deal.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. and thank you, Marv, for jumping in. You're really cool. It's nice to have you on board.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just have to say that thank you so much for allowing me to be here and already just take on the reins of actually being a co-host with you right now. It's been so much fun. I'm new to this. I'm learning, but Jesus Christ, it's been so much fun. You are insanely fun to talk to. So happy holidays for both of you.
Yeah, happy holidays to you too.
Thank you as well.
I hope you guys have a great and stress-free holiday season, if that's even possible.
Please, yes, please. No stress, no. Please take it easy. Although Marv said that it's fun to talk to, I think it's the one time we should just like stream our meeting where we're planning this because those get slightly unhinged at times, and I feel like that.
Wasn't the last time we had a meeting and Marv came in and what were we even talking about? It was something crazy, but anyways, and he walked in. I think it was like, I don't know if it was dating simulators or sex lives or something like that. It was interesting.
Dream Daddy was the game.
Dream Daddy.
I think it was like,
get over it.
We always get back to that, and also like sex life and dating simulators, they go hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, I think that's a good time to
okay.
Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful time. Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.